Your front door is lying to you. It tells you you're protected. It tells you that a deadbolt and a ring camera are enough. But the door itself, its position, its angle, the way it opens, the way light hits it at night, was designed without a single thought for your safety. In fact, the layout of most modern homes would make a medieval builder laugh. Or, honestly, maybe even cry. Because they figured this out centuries ago. And, well, we quietly forgot it. Today, that forgotten knowledge comes back. And by the end of this, you'll never look at your entryway the same way again. Let's go back. Not just a few decades, let's go back a few centuries. Walk up to a colonial American farmhouse, a Viking longhouse, a medieval English cottage, and you'll notice something immediately. The front door is never just slapped onto the face of the building like a postage stamp. It's positioned. It's deliberate. Every angle, every setback, every surrounding wall had a purpose. In pre-industrial construction, the entrance was treated as a tactical choke point. The people building these homes weren't architects with degrees. They were survivors. They understood that whoever controlled the doorway controlled the outcome of any confrontation, so they built accordingly. The entrance was tucked. It sat inside a recessed porch, a covered vestibule, or a short-walled passage. Visitors had to slow down, turn, and expose themselves to the inhabitants' view before they could even reach the door. The homeowner could see out. The stranger couldn't see in. That imbalance of information, that asymmetry, was security. It wasn't decorative. It was doctrine. Here's the principle that built those homes. Visibility flows inward, not outward. The occupant needed to observe the approach zone before opening the door. That means positioning the door so the path leading to it is fully visible from inside, from a window, from a slit in the wall, from the angle of the porch. The approach zone is the most critical space in any defensive situation. If you can see it fully, and your visitor cannot see you clearly, you control the encounter. Old farmhouses achieved this by setting the door on the side of the house, not the front. Think about that. The side. A visitor approaching from the road had to walk along the full length of the building, fully exposed to anyone watching from the windows before reaching the door. The homeowner had 5, 10, 15 seconds of observation before making any decision. Some European homes took it further. The door was placed at the end of a short-walled corridor. An entryway passage. You had to physically enter this semi-enclosed space before you could even knock. Any hostile intent revealed itself in that corridor. Meanwhile, the homeowner watched from safety. Now compare that to the average suburban home built in the last 40 years. The front door faces the street dead on. It opens with zero observation space. There's no approach corridor. There's no sightline control. A stranger can sprint from the sidewalk to your door in under 3 seconds. You have 3 seconds to make a decision that could determine everything. 3 seconds versus 15. That's the cost of forgetting this. Now let's talk about the second layer of the forgotten design, visibility architecture. Ancient builders obsessed over what could be seen and from where. This wasn't paranoia, it was precision engineering applied to human survival. Windows were never placed randomly near doors in traditional construction. They were positioned to create overlapping fields of view. Stand at the window inside an old colonial home and look toward the door. You'll notice you can see the full approach path, the porch, and the side yard, without exposing your silhouette to anyone outside. The glass was typically recessed. The frame was thick. Light from inside didn't bleed outward at night the way modern thin-pane windows do. You could observe in darkness while someone outside saw nothing but shadow. This is called visual asymmetry, and it's one of the most powerful passive security tools ever built into residential design. Modern homes invert this completely. Floor-to-ceiling glass panes, sidelights flanking the front door, those decorative glass panels that look elegant and reveal everything inside to anyone standing on the porch at night. Transom windows above doors that backlight your silhouette the moment you approach from inside. Modern homes are illuminated display cases, Traditional homes were one-way mirrors. There's also the question of access point quantity, historic homes in contested regions, the frontier settlements, the isolated farmsteads of the American South and Midwest, minimized external doors. One primary entrance, one rear door, often reinforced, often observable from the kitchen. That's it. Every additional door is a potential breach point. Every sliding glass patio door is an invitation. Modern open-plan homes can have 4, 5, 6 points of exterior access, each one a problem, each one a blind spot. So, here's the uncomfortable truth about why this knowledge disappeared. After World War II, the American housing market just exploded. Developers needed to build homes fast, cheap, and at scale. Security, well, it just wasn't a selling point. Square footage was. Curb appeal was. The open plan layout became king, not because it was actually better for living, but because it photographed well and, honestly, it felt modern. The recessed entrance that used to give you a 15-second observation window? Gone. Replaced by a flat facade that looks cleaner in a brochure photo. The side-positioned door that forced visitors to expose themselves along the building's flank. Gone. Replaced by a centered front door that creates perfect symmetry for a real estate listing. And those small recessed windows near entryways? Gone. Replaced by sidelights and big decorative glass that real estate agents love to describe as flooding the foyer with natural light. What they don't mention is that it also floods the foyer with a complete view of your interior for anyone standing outside after dark. The multi-layered vestibule design? Gone, replaced by a 2-inch hollow core door with a basic deadbolt painted to match the shutters. Builders stopped asking who controls the encounter at the door. They started asking what sells in this zip code. Those are not the same question. And the gap between them is exactly where your vulnerability lives. Zoning codes and homeowners association rules have reinforced this over decades. Walled courtyards, recessed entries, side-facing doors. These often require variance approvals, sometimes get denied outright, and almost never appear in cookie-cutter developments. The result is, well, entire neighborhoods where every home is a structural copy of the same security failure. Now here's where this goes from history lesson to action plan. You don't need to rebuild your house, you just need to think like an old builder and retrofit their logic onto what you already have. Start with your approach zone. Walk from the public sidewalk to your front door and time it. Count the seconds. Now ask yourself, from inside, could you observe that entire walk without opening the door? If the answer is no, that's problem number 1. A wide-angle peephole, not the standard fisheye lens, but a proper 200-degree wide-angle viewer, extends your observation range dramatically. Install 1 at 2 heights if you have children in the home. See more before committing to opening. Rethink your lighting. Modern porch lighting illuminates your entrance beautifully. For you, and for anyone approaching, you want the opposite. You want the approach zone lit and the doorway shadowed. Motion-activated lighting positioned to shine outward, toward the path, and the yard, not backward, onto the door, forces anyone approaching to walk into brightness while you remain in relative shadow inside. This is the electric version of the one-way window the old builders carved into stone. Address your sidelights. Those decorative glass panels flanking your front door are beautiful and nearly indefensible. Frosted or textured glass film, available at any hardware store for under $30, eliminates the silhouette problem while preserving the light. Privacy film that allows light through but not images is one of the highest value, lowest cost security upgrades a homeowner can make. Create a visual buffer at your door. A deep-set porch, a planted screen of dense shrubs on either side of the path, a lattice screen, any structure that forces an approaching visitor to slow down and navigate a defined path buys you time and observation. Landscape with purpose. A dense, evergreen hedge parallel to the approach path is not just decoration. It is a channeling device. It forces linear movement. It exposes someone moving off-path instantly. Reinforce the frame, not just the door. Most residential door kicks succeed not because the door failed, but because the frame failed. A deadbolt extending into a weak wooden frame is only as strong as that wood. Door frame reinforcement kits. Steel strike plate reinforcement using 3-inch screws driven into the wall stud, not just the trim. Turn a 30-second kick-in into a serious mechanical problem. That delay is time, and time is everything. Secure your rear access. The back of the house is statistically the most common point of unauthorized entry. If your rear door has a large glass panel, it is functionally a window with a handle. A secondary reinforcement bar, the kind that sits in the track of a sliding door, or braces diagonally from floor to door handle, provides physical resistance that buys noise and time. This isn't theoretical. Let's put the design principles into situations you might actually face. Scenario 1. The uncertain knock. It's 11 o'clock at night. Someone knocks on your front door. With a standard modern layout, you have two options: open it and see, or speak through a closed door to someone you cannot observe. With a wide-angle viewer and proper asymmetric lighting, you have a third option: observe from a dark interior, gather information, and make a calm decision without revealing your presence at all. The old builders built that option in by default. Modern construction stripped it out. Scenario 2. The grid is down, extended power outage, stores closed, civil unrest 2 counties over. In this environment, your home transitions from a residence to a position. Every design vulnerability that was merely inconvenient becomes significant. A door anyone can see through, a porch anyone can sprint to in 3 seconds, an approach path that offers no observation window. In a stable world, these are annoyances. In an unstable one, they are problems you cannot afford. The time to fix design failures is before the moment they matter. Scenario 3. The social engineering approach. Someone walks up, dressed normally, and knocks. They claim to be from the utility company, the census, a delivery service. A direct face-to-face interaction at an open door creates social pressure to comply. A one-way observation setup, dark interior, wide view, door still closed, allows you to assess body language, check their vehicle, notice whether others are hanging back near the property line, decide whether the approach felt right. That quiet assessment is worth more than any lock. The door is not the security. The design around the door is the security. What the old builders understood, from medieval English stonemasons to American frontier homesteaders, was that architecture is a form of preparation. Every wall placed, every window set, every entrance angled was a decision about who controlled the next encounter. They built a symmetry on purpose. They built observation into the structure. They made the homework for its occupants before anyone ever reached for a weapon. Modern construction abandoned that wisdom quietly and without announcement. It traded security architecture for curb appeal. It traded observation windows for decorative glass. It traded controlled approach zones for open lawns and centered doors. You can't always change your house, but you can change how you think about it. And once you start seeing your home the way an old builder saw it, as a series of decisions about who sees what, who moves where, and who holds the information advantage, you'll start making better choices. One porch light repositioned, one film panel on a sidelight, one approach path redefined by a hedgerow, small changes, real outcomes. The builders who survived built with intention, build with intention.